Okay, in this video has been a request for so long is a toolbox tour. I know I did one before, but I didn't really talk about the tools and why I bought them and why I have them. So in this video, this is going to be a long video. We're going to go through drawer by drawer. We're going to talk about the tools, why I bought them, what are my thoughts of them. So sit back, grab a beer, and let's get started. Yeah, so please excuse the mess. This is a Snap-on KLR series toolbox, which has got really deep drawers. My toolbox is set up more as a heavy duty, even though I'm a millwright by trade. Working in oil and gas, it's basically a mixture of both millwright and heavy duty mechanics. So let's start off with the first drawer. We're going to open it up and then we're going to have a look at everything inside. Now before we get started, most companies will have a tool list that you should have when you start your apprenticeship training. Now the rule of thumb that I roll by and I stick by is that if you borrow a tool from me 3 times, you have to buy it. Because the way I look at it, if you're getting paid to do a job and if you don't have the tools to do that job, you shouldn't be doing it. And that's the rule that I was told and I was taught by, and that's the rule that I go by. So if you're doing a job and you borrowed a tool from me 3 times and you come to me a 4th time, you're not getting it. You either have to buy that tool or say you don't have the tools to do the job. That's just the way it goes. You can see the Snap-on drawers on this one are really deep, but you can shove a lot of stuff in it. So right here is a Snap-on 3/4 inch torque wrench. This is a Snap-on 1/2 inch torque wrench. And then the little one is a Snap-on 3/8. What I have right here, these are Crowfoots and they're made by Sunex. They're not really the greatest brand name. They are fairly thicker if you want to have a look at them. Compared to like a Snap-on, they are thicker, but the cost is cheap, so utilize them that way. Otherwise, I got a couple Snap-on ones here that have worked out good. Now, these ones are made by Mac, and these ones are shit. I find that they're extremely soft. Now, as far as other tools in my toolbox, now, as much as it would be nice to have Snap-on sockets, these ones here are just generic mastercraft, and I got these when I first started my apprenticeship before I got my journeyman's over a decade ago, and I've never broken one the whole term. So if you want to spend the money on Snap-on or Mac or matco sockets, go for it. They're nice, but these are just mastercraft. Never had an issue. These ones here are Princess Auto, but they're actually probably the same ones you get in Harbor Freight. Now, these I've never had an issue with either. I don't know which one it is. I think it's either this one or this one. But I've had a hydraulic torque machine on it with 3,000 pounds of torque, and the socket never broke. So, pretty happy with those. These are the impact ones, Princess Auto. Now, if you have to do any safety wiring, this is, I don't know if it's a Blue Point or if it's an actual Snap-on. I can't remember now. But anyways, these are really expensive. If you have to do any kind of safety wiring, especially in pumps or aircraft, whatever, don't mess around with those. Stuff in the drawer, like there's flashlights on the side, and I got flashlights on this side, safety glasses. Now, these little small impact sockets were $10. They're small and they're thin, and I probably widely use these most than anything at all, just because they're small and get into small places with them. This is a Canadian Tire impact socket, which I've hardly used in the 10 years or more that I've been in the actual trade, so I prefer to use these ones. Okay, let's go drawer number 2. Drawer number 2 basically has all my wrenches and pry bars. Now, when it comes to pry bars, I don't mess around. Go with the brand name, whether it's Snap-on, Mac, Matco, any kind of higher end brand, because you're just going to end up hurt. I've seen people with no name ones and they break. So, something to keep an eye out. Now, as far as wrenches go, wrenches brand name, a lot of people argue. I roll with Snap-on, not so much as the straight ones. The Blue Point, Ratchet ones are okay. I got the metric Snap-on ones here, but when it comes to specialty like angle wrenches, these Snap-on angle wrenches, if there is something you can't use these on, it most likely can't even be tightened up at all. These angles are perfect, especially when it comes to hydraulic fittings. If you do a lot of hydraulics, these snap-on angle wrenches are boss. The most expensive one is this one right here. This is a 2-inch snap-on. This was 240 bucks, I believe it was, for this wrench itself off the snap-on. And what do I got here? This is a hole punch. This is off the snap-on truck, but just a generic brand name. Blue Point infrared thermometer. Comes in handy when you're working on hydraulics. Snap-on screwdrivers. There's one drill index there. Little mini torch. It's pretty much for this drawer. Okay, moving on, we'll go to this drawer here, which is kind of an oddball type drawer. Okay, this drawer here is kind of all the oddball stuff. These are no-name files here. They do work. I use them if I'm using them on something sketchy, which really shouldn't matter because these matco files have lifetime warranty, which are really good. Files make a big difference. If you're going to use cheap files, you're just going to have nothing but issues. Now, when it comes to extractors, whether bolt extractor or screw type extractor, go for a brand name, don't go no name. These Blue Point ones are the ones if you have a broken bolt or something and you need to extract them. When you put them on, they dig in, loosen them up. Otherwise, if you can't go that route, there's these ones right here, which involve where you got to drill a hole and then pound them in. I've broken a few of these, but just call the snap-on guy, just get new ones. These are larger drill bits right here. These are no name. They're kind of shitty. They do the job. These are MPT taps in here. Unibit, which I've never used. Scissors, magnetic angle locator, rivet gun, hose cutter, levels, feeler gauges. Your best friend right here, this little tiny ruler, snap ring pliers. These are kind of fancy. These are for removing O-rings. These are what you want to be using, removing O-rings instead of picks. You're not going to damage nothing. This inside here, this is a tack gun right here. The battery's probably dead. Yeah, it works great for measuring RPM, especially when it comes to like pumps or something. You take the RPM, try to figure out the flow, see if it matches. Is one example. So it's basically all I got in this drawer, just little odds and ends. Another kind of oddball drawer. Alright, T-handles. These are boss for working on jobs, especially in the industry I was in, hydraulics a lot of time, for removing little plugs and stuff. T-handles work great. Dave will be pretty impressed with this. Milwaukee pliers. Got a little tiny snap-on pipe wrench right there, which, you know, believe it or not, works wonders. Snap-on pick. Otherwise, everything else in this drawer is just like shit screwdrivers from Canadian Tire. Pretty much disposable. Now the thing is, as you can see right here, with these being in the trade, once they get absorbed with oil and stuff and it starts breaking them down, I think this one's taped up because it's all cracked up. But that's what happens when you buy no-name drivers, is that once they get absorbed with oil. Oh, let's go to this drawer. So now we got this drawer. We got a lot of Saskatchewan wrenches in here, which I call that because they're adjustable. These are Blue Point. The Blue Point ones are good. I got snap-on pipe wrenches, which are basically the exact same mold as the rigid ones. Now if you're working on hydraulics, these bad boys right here are the cat's ass for hydraulics. Now I got a strap wrench right there, comes in handy. I got a chain wrench right here. Another little mini one which has had snipe on it numerous times. Odds and ends little pliers. This is, if you're doing electronics, it's a little micro screwdriver set, snap on. Hose crimpers right here, Blue Point. It's pretty much, it's all. Moving along. Have a look in this drawer. Alright, this drawer right here, we got Matco's blowgun. This is like an adjustable pipe wrench right here. It actually comes in handy. blue point hammers. This is probably the best mechanics hammer you're ever going to have in your toolbox that I find. Lockout, tagout tags for doing repairs on things. These are snap-on dead blow hammers, really good. Most of the clamps and stuff in here by Mac Tools. This 3/4 inch ratchet is no name, but does come in handy. This is a drill index right here. This is a blue point adjustable hammer, which has got different heads you put on for whatever you're hitting. You know, if you don't want to mar it up, use brass or kind of like these rubber. Each one of these rubber heads are a little bit harder depending on the material that you're working with. This one right here is just tap and die set. Pretty straightforward. This last drawer on this side's got a lot of stuff that's kind of missing. It's kind of in and around my garage. Now there usually is more air tools in here, but they're all over the place in my garage. I got my rigid drill, rigid impact driver, a little tiny come along, works great, air ratchet, air angle drill, die grinders. Some of this shit. An air riveter, that's come in handy. This is mag base dial. A lot of times too, when you work with companies, they'll buy your tools when they break it. So my dial broke, so they got me this nice stair gauge, which is worth more than this whole dial set. This side here, this is a 4-piece combination square by Mac Tools. It's pretty good. This is one of the tools. This is a thread restoring kit. Instead of running a tap or anything through your material when your thread strip, these thread restore kits actually repair the threads. Doesn't re-tap it. You put these in and it reshapes the metal. These are boss right here. If you are in mechanics, this is probably one of the most important things you should have, because every now and then you're going to come across something that's stripped or needs repaired, but usually when you run a tap through it, you recut the metal and that material's gone, where this just reshapes it. The small drawers on the side, these are my ratchet drawers. Now basically all my ratchets are snap-on, as you can see, even right down to the 1/4 inch. I do have some mastercraft ones, and I use those, believe it or not, if I'm doing something really sketchy that I'm almost guaranteed that the ratchet's gonna bust, because I don't care about those, which is kind of pointless because the snap-on ones are better quality and have lifetime warranty, but I don't know, some sort of thing mentally I just don't want to break them, so I use the cheaper ones for doing shit that's really oddball. Other things, lineup bars come in handy for doing lineup work, especially in oil and gas. Reducers, adapters. This right here, this is a snap-on ratchet from 1964. This is my ToolBox mascot right here, and this bad boy, man, still works like a dream. I use this ratchet all the time. This thing is boss. Let's have a look at that, man. 1964 this bad boy is. Next drawer down, there was more chisels and punches, but those are kind of ventured their way over to my other toolbox, so not really anything too exciting in this drawer. Besides a spanner, these are really expensive, but rebuilding, for example, hydraulic cylinders, you need one of these spanners to break them apart. And, you know, this is like 150 bucks for that one tool. This drawer, more little punches and stuff. Got a test light, which is actually a really good test light, which I've never really used. Why there's only one snap-on pick in there when I have a whole set? Oh, never mind, right in front of my eyes. There's the long set. These are the snap-on picks, the short set, really good. Allen keys. These snap-on little pry bars right here, they're adjustable. Basically, you just push it in, whatever angle you want. Works great for prying on stuff. I'm pretty sure I had 3 of them. I don't know where the other one is. I don't know if it's in my garage or what the hell, but I thought for sure I had 3 of them. And then the last drawer in my toolbox, I got a hydraulics handbook for referencing things if I have any questions. Handbook for rigging at work for using cranes if I have any doubts or questions or something. If I'm doing a lift, I can refer to those. Dial caliper, this is a Fowler. Mechanical, this is a digital one. Shoelaces. Tag line. Multimeter. Fastener's handbook, looking at reference. Knee pads, toque. Little small dial indicator set right there. Telescoping gauges for measuring. A whole bunch of receipts from tools I bought. Power transmissions, more reference books. This is a micrometer set right here. And this last one is a depth micrometer, which I very seldom ever used. Well, if you made it to this part of the video, that is basically my toolbox tour of the type of tools I'd have at work. There's a lot of tools missing because they're actually in that toolbox too. So everybody's gonna have their toolbox set up differently for different industries they're in. Me being oil and gas, this is a pretty similar toolbox that you're gonna see between a lot of people. Some people are gonna have less, some people are gonna have more. Anyways, I'm gonna get going. If you guys have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.